speaking of lawfare against various people, that's what the Dems say is happening to John Bolton. As the extraordinary scene unfolded Friday, we were off on Friday. We've been taking summers off on Fridays off in summer, or at least in August. And it's been quite nice, I have to say, a lot of extra time with the fam. But on Friday, I was like, holy, when I saw the raid at John Bolton's house. And I mean, I wasn't totally surprised. And the audience knows I'm totally in favor of it, 100% in favor of it. They will not learn until it's done to them. And by the way, he should not be the only at all. We need bigger scalps than his. If you didn't do anything, you don't have to worry. You really don't have to worry. Like, I'm not worried. I didn't commit any crimes. We don't hire illegals in my family. We don't commit fraud in our documents. I'm fine. But if you divulge classified information to your family, or worse, which is what Mike Davis is intimating, that it's worse than that he took classified information to write his book, then you might need to be a little bit more careful. You might need to be worried when people come sniffing around. And so the FBI goes, raids his house, or searches his house, and he hasn't yet been charged with anything, but he could be. Here's the piece I want to get to, and we touched on this on Morning Update. You had leftists from the Biden administration out there on CNN on Friday, and I was off, so I was watching some of the news coverage, melting down. Not just over what they saw was a lot lawfare. They hate lawfare. That's so wrong. We don't abuse the justice system to go after our political enemies. I mean, literally, they want us to listen to these guys say this. Like, they don't get it. And then secondly, to point out how inappropriate Kash Patel and Pam Bondi's tweets were the morning of the raid. Kash tweeted, "No one is above the law," at FBI agents on a mission, or on mission, at 7:03 a.m. Friday. At 7:45 a.m. Friday, Pam Bondi tweeted, "America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued, always." Okay, so that's, and Bongino tweeted, "Public corruption will not be tolerated," at 7:16 a.m. Those are pretty generic. They don't mention anybody's name. They don't say specifically a raid is underway. The closest is Kash Patel saying FBI agents on mission, which, I mean, that could just mean like on goal, right? Like they're on, we here every day are on mission. In any event, pretty benign. Here's Andrew McCabe on CNN in the 8 a.m. hour and his reaction to this, which is indicative of everything that happened during all the coverage I watched on CNN. But here's a taste. Watch.
What do you think about the FBI director tweeting that out as this is happening?
So I should say, with respect to the director's social media posting, I mean, it's yet another example of, in my opinion, Kash Patel failing to live up to the example of his predecessors. He wanted to draw attention to this law enforcement, this sensitive law enforcement activity at John Bolton's house, which anytime you draw press attention to a search warrant execution, you are elevating the risk that is posed to both the agents and the occupants at that place. So it's a pretty irresponsible thing to do.
Totally irresponsible. It would be deeply irresponsible and dangerous, both for the target of the raid and the FBI agents. It's not done, except when it is done to people like journalist James O'Keefe, who had his home raided by Joe Biden's DOJ because they thought he had Ashley Biden's diary, or may have engaged in discussions about buying it, which is not illegal. And they know that. They know that it's illegal to steal a diary, but it is not illegal for a press person, without having been in on the theft, to then possibly publish it, which is what James was considering, and he was open about that. That does not lead to FBI raids in normal America, only in Joe Biden's America. And everybody in the Joe Biden DOJ FBI combo was very respectful about not letting the press in on the FBI because danger. Oh, wait. Here's James O'Keefe on the Megyn Kelly Show, April 13th, 2022.
I was in handcuffs and I was in my apartment. The FBI had just executed a search warrant against an American journalist and unlawfully and broke the law. And then minutes later, I get a text message from Mike Schmidt, national security reporter in the New York Times, who somehow he knows all these details. And I don't think the neighbors tipped him off that this is something that he knew. He had leaks from the Department of Justice.
But how could that have been? The example was being set for Kash Patel by the Merrick Garland DOJ, Emily. How could the New York Times have known that James O'Keefe was being raided by the FBI in the moment it was happening? That's dangerous.
This is also, of course, a great source of mystery and intrigue surrounding the Roger Stone raid.
They just got lucky, Emily. CNN says they just got lucky the day of that raid. They just happened to be there.
This is actually what the CNN journalist who was there says. He says he just had a gut instinct. That is legitimately why he said that very morning he was hanging around with a camera outside of Roger Stone's house.
Got a little tingle about Roger Stone. I mean, we've all been there.
Imagine someone being reckless at the head of the FBI. Imagine what that would be like. Imagine how far we could have fallen as a country if somebody who ran the FBI. And this is where, like, I also feel like it just happens so much. You mentioned Mike Schmidt. I believe that is the husband of Nicole Wallace, who's constantly has him on the show, and constantly has him on the show with other people, former intelligence agents, FBI, CIA, all of that type of stuff. We also are just numb to the fact that why the hell is CNN asking Andy McCabe his opinion on any of this? Like, that is completely insane. If you're going to do it, you should do it very critically and be like, well, hey, sir, didn't you get us into this situation in the first place? Or isn't what you're saying complete and total bullshit because you are guilty of everything that is coming out of your mouth? But no, CNN, as they're trying to repair their own reputation, is just seriously talking to Andy McCabe like he can be a credible person to have on as an expert to talk about it.
More.
Like that's insane.
Let me show you more of McCabe. This was in the 11 o'clock hour. I really don't do much on my days off, truth be told. I don't have a big life.
You're just watching CNN.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of I was. It was interesting that they were raiding John Bolton's house, so I tuned in. Okay, here's more. This is the 11 o'clock hour. Next, we'll do the 2 p.m. hour. Watch.
In the past, DOJ leadership has always taken the role like we don't go out of our way to draw suspicion or castigate people unless we are doing it officially in court in the form of an indictment and then going into court and proving our case. They speak through the court filings, and that is it. So I think what you're seeing from Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino is pretty typical for them, but it is absolutely atypical for anyone else who's ever served in those roles. And I think it really degrades the Bureau and the department's image and legitimacy in the way that they are so blatantly trying to generate social media attention for themselves. I can't think of anyone at the FBI who would call attention to a search warrant while it's taking place. I mean, you never want, tactically, you would never want to draw attention to something like that.
A lot of head nodding at this table.
Remember, Trump and those people you just mentioned, the Attorney General, the FBI Director, the Deputy, they are the ones who said during the Biden administration, these people are weaponizing the Justice Department. They are making public statements, essentially coming to conclusions, even while the search is underway. Now you have the heads of the law enforcement agencies essentially saying John Bolton's guilty even before the search is conducted.
That's right. I mean, it looks like they're trying to try this in the court of public opinion.
Oh, the horror. Try this in the court of public opinion. I mean, we've been spending the last 2 months talking about the immediate leaks by the FBI, the intelligence services to the New York Times and the Washington Post when they thought, well, when they wanted us to think Trump was a Russian stooge. I mean, ran to the Washington Post, ran to the New York Times, to Michael Schmidt. That was all part of their plan, you see. But in fairness, Trump wasn't yet indicted. He actually had done nothing wrong. So is it better to involve the press when you have an indictment or you actually think you're about to have an indictment, you have a search warrant, or is it better to involve the press when the person has done nothing wrong and you're just ginning up a fake controversy about them, Emily?
Well, yeah, and of course here they're acting like they have the upper hand, like they are pointing out some great hypocrisy on the Trump administration and MAGA's behalf when it's like, you guys have spent the last 2 months downplaying stories, disclosures that show exactly what you are condemning right now as a lot of heads are shaking at the table. Like an actual pattern of leaks and abuses of your office at intelligence agencies, or of people's offices at these intelligence agencies. You've got to be kidding me. And like, right. I don't even know why I'm getting worked up about this, because I'm so used to it. They've been doing this for 10 years now, where they're just acting like they're babes in the woods. Like they've never seen anything like this before. I can't imagine this is unprecedented. And they have spent literally the last, they have not given serious coverage of what we're seeing coming out of Tulsi Gabbard's DNI at all. Like it's all a joke to them, and now they're upset about seeing it happen.
We don't go out of our way to draw suspicion or castigate people unless we're doing it officially in court in the form of an indictment. I mean, like this is from the FBI, like that FBI that literally was completely in on the Russiagate conspiracy, was trying to unfairly, untruly cast Trump as a Russian agent. And then need I point out the Mar-a-Lago raid, where did they just go down there like Joe Friday and conduct that raid, just like you would expect? Why did I see evidence splayed out on the floor of Mar-a-Lago so I could read top secret, when that is not the condition in which they found the boxes or the files? They were playing pop art with us, the FBI. They made us a pretty little picture because they wanted us to see just how guilty Donald Trump was. Remember the files all over the carpet? That was not how they found them. And yet Andrew McCabe of the FBI wants us to know we do not go out of our way to draw suspicion or castigate people unless we're doing it officially in court. That's the example our FBI set. Why is the news media filming the exterior of John Bolton's house, the invasion?
Andy McCabe's FBI lied on a FISA warrant. It's just so insane.
They were doing it in court, Emily. You see that there they were drawing suspicion or castigating people in court, and unfairly and untruly. But that's a footnote.
I think that may have been before or after Andy McCabe was actually the head of the FBI. He was in leadership.
It doesn't matter. It's the FBI under Joe Biden.
What did Comey do with the Steele dossier? I mean, it's just completely insane. And Obama. Yeah, it's exactly right. Like they haven't given no serious coverage to that, even though we've learned a lot more about it in the last couple of weeks. But you hear nothing about it on CNN.
What will the effect of the sparring between President Trump and the Federal Reserve be? Can the Fed take the right action at the right time, or are we going to be looking at a potential economic slowdown? And what does this mean for your savings? Consider diversifying with gold through Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, global uncertainty, and high inflation. And Birch Gold makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold. If you have an IRA or an old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or just buy some gold to keep in your safe. First, get educated. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Just text MK to the number 989898. Again, text MK to 989898 and consider diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. So if the Fed cannot stay ahead of the curve for the country, at least you can stay ahead for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.